The limits of my language means the limits of my world. This quote was by Ludwig Wittgenstein. Folks, how many of you want to live a life full of abundance? Is that possible? And if so, do you want to learn how to attract that into your life? There's another quote I want to share. Abundance is not something we acquire. It is something we tune into. This quote was by Dyer. In today's episode, I'm going to share what I've advised my clients in the most recent coaching sessions on how to rewrite their futures, how to attract more abundance in their lives, simply by harnessing the power of language. Tune in to find out how. Let's cue the intro. Welcome to the Boom Vision Podcast, the show that empowers you to live an enriching life physically, mentally, and spiritually. I am your host, Benjamin Ye, and I created this podcast to give you perspectives on how to strengthen your mindset so that you can build optimal health, create aligned wealth, and connect with your higher self. It's all interconnected. Let's get to work. Hi, folks. Welcome back to episode 41 of the Boom Vision Podcast. In the past several weeks, I've had several clients shared with me that they felt stuck in a certain area, particularly around money and wealth. And after talking to them to understand where their root causes are, what I shared was simply reframing their language to help them unlock a different way in operating life. And so the first story I want to share is a story of Lon. Lon Schiffbauer is a fellow member of my mastermind group in SBI Pro. Lon is a professor of business management and is the founder of Nutshell Brainery, which is his YouTube channel. Now, the problem that he wanted to address was that he felt he had a mental block around the subject of money. And so when he shared that, I told him, Lon, if you ever want to call me and have a conversation about this, I'm happy to help. And so the following week, he did reach out and wanted to have a conversation. And so I asked Lon, where do you feel is what's causing you to get stuck around this subject of money? And he was sharing with me, before he became professor, he used to work for a technology company. And what Lon observed was that his colleagues, when they started to make more money, they started changing. And it wasn't changing for the better, but he felt that they were changing for the worse. And so when we talked about it further, what Lon came to realize was that he created a belief system. He believed that money is just a construct, but that money is the root of all evil. And the belief that he incorporated in his conscious, but also his subconscious, was something similar to the effect of that either I make just enough money, or if I make more than I need, I will turn evil. And so because he had a negative association with the word money, and yet he wants to grow a business that requires to make more money, there's always that internal conflict. And so what I invited him to see money in a different light in is that money is just simply a resource. It's energy. It's energy that's neither good or bad. It could be neutral. And so what I invited him to think about on a new belief system is, I can make money and be inherently good. And so the main takeaway from this first story is just, are you creating a belief system, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, using the or language or the and language? Do you have a belief where it's a positive or negative outcome? And if so, can you upgrade that belief system to being a positive and positive outcome? I can be abundant in my life and be happy. I can attract abundance in my life and be a force of good. So the second story I want to share is my father-in-law. Bless his heart. He is a great father-in-law. He loves our family. He loves our kids. But one of the things that he always says is 没有办法. Now that's Mandarin for there's no way. It's similar to saying like it is what it is. And he uses that line a lot. And whenever I hear that line, I just cringe inside, because if you're programming a language, it's constantly there is no way. It is what it is. What happens is that there is no more follow-up on exploring what new possibilities can happen. If you're saying it is what it is, there's nothing to be said after that. There's no curiosity or space of new possibilities come in. And so if you really think about it, what you want to do is attract more abundance in your life, how do you attract more abundant energy and opportunity in your life if you never use the words abundance in your day-to-day vocabulary? I'll give an example. If abundance represented the color purple. Now, purple is the spiritual color in feng shui that represents abundance, and that's why I'm using this color. So if, metaphorically, abundance represents purple, imagine the day-to-day language you're using is orange, brown, orange this, orange that. Oh my God, why is life so orange? Why is life so brown? Imagine just constantly using the words orange and brown, and never in day-to-day do you use the word purple, even though that's what you're saying you want, but you just never say it. Now, at least if you're speaking, for example, the color red and blue, at least you're using two primary colors where if you blend that, it does become purple. It's getting closer. But orange and brown is almost the exact opposite of purple. Now, why am I saying color as an analogy? If abundance has a certain frequency, if abundance in that word has a certain energy, but you're using words that are so far removed from it, how do you expect to attract that in your life? If what you're seeking is abundance, when I think of abundance, I just think like a flow of river. You just want the flow of opportunities and abundance to flow into your life. But if you're using language that are barriers, it is what it is. It's not possible. There's no way. It feels like you're building this barricade, this wall, where you're not allowing abundance to even have the possibility and space to come into your aura, into your space, into your life. And so the takeaway I want you to get from the second story is that, do you use language that attract more positive flow into your life? Or are you using language that creates barriers and energetic walls, blocking positive possibilities to flow towards you? And so the third story I just want to share today is of my college buddy, Mike. Now I'm changing the name to respect his privacy. But my buddy Mike, he built his career as a non-profit immigration attorney. He's been doing it for over 10 years, working for this nonprofit, and being a immigration attorney in that organization, I just knew he was doing it from pure heart. But when I called him up, probably late in 2021, so this was about a couple of months right after I launched Boom Vision, he was telling me that he just felt stuck because he's been doing this similar thing day in, day out. At that nonprofit, there isn't much organizational growth. And so he just felt stuck in life. And in listening to his words and understanding his situation, I just told my friend Mike, look, you don't have to listen to all of my episodes, but I just started this podcast and I really strongly feel that episode 2 about the voice, your inner voice, I really feel there's something in there that can help you. And so I just recommended to him, if there's anything you can do me a favor, Mike, and just listen to episode 2. My intuition is telling me that something in there is going to help you. Now, fast forward a couple of months later, right? It was the beginning of 2022. And my intuition, I remember, was just saying, hey, why don't you just follow up with Mike? It's been a couple of months since I've talked to him. So I texted him. I was like, hey, Mike, just checking in. How are you doing? And I didn't hear back for the full day, but towards the end of the day, I get a text back from Mike saying, Ben, you actually beat me to the punch. I've actually have exciting news I wanted to share with you. I'm going to be a judge. And I remember I saw that text and I just froze. I was like, wait, what's happening? So I called him up. I was like, Mike, we got to talk. I was like, wait, what happened? And he shared with me that when he listened to that second episode about voice, the inner voice, it made him realize that the internal voice he had, he was being his worst critic rather than being his best cheerleader. And when he had that awareness, he wanted to consciously change the language he's using internally. And so what happened was the following month, there was a job posting that came his way for a immigration judge opportunity in a local courthouse. Now, normally when he saw those opportunities, he would not apply for it because the inner voice he had, the pre-programmed vocabulary that he used was, Mike, that's not you. Don't even bother applying. But since listening to that episode, rather than saying, why would you do that? He told himself, why not? Why not go for it? What do you have to lose? And he applied for a position that led to an interview, that led to another round. And now he's going to be an immigration judge. And as I'm listening to him talk, I was so floored. I was so happy for him because I know he's going to do a fantastic job and he deserves it. And so the takeaway from this third story is I just want you to ask yourself, are you using language? Are you using things to empower you or to stop you? Do you have a tendency to say, why? That's not you. Can I invite you to use a different set of language? Why not? What if that can be me? Because what you say to yourself internally has a profound impact on you even making that first step, the first step of new possibilities. So what are the action steps for this week's episode? I want to share the CAL method, the CAL method. C stands for calm. Calm yourself in any way that works for you. Is that meditation? Is that breath work? Is that going on a jog around the block or in nature? Whatever it takes to help you calm your mind. You want to be able to turn off that wind tunnel so that your thoughts can gently fall to the ground and you're giving yourself the space for clarity to come in. So after C, calm, A stands for awareness. In your calm state, I want you to bring awareness first to your body. How are you feeling? Do you feel calm and neutral? Or do you feel irritated and frustrated? If you're feeling negative, what do you think is the root cause that's triggering those negative feelings? Just bring awareness to that, to your body, to your mind. L stands for language. I want you to pay attention to the thoughts that are running through your mind, the inner voice that's expressing itself in your mind. Do you have a tendency to use or language? And if so, what would be a way to reframe your thoughts using and language? Do you have a tendency to say, it is what it is, or there's no way? Can you ask yourself the question, what if it is possible? What would that look like? What if there is another way? What if there's a third alternative? What could that be? And the third question I want you to ask is, do you have a tendency to say, I can't? That's not me. What if you invite the new possibility of saying, I can? Instead of saying why, what about why not? Why can't that be me? I can do that. So final thoughts for today's episode. There's a quote I want to share. A different language is a different version of life. This quote was by Federico Fellini. Folks, I can't tell you how much power and energy there is behind your words we use on a daily basis. What we vocalize externally, what we think internally, have power in programming our inner world and our outer reality. The more we use the very language we're looking to attract, the more you are allowing yourself to tune into that frequency that you're looking to manifest. Remember that Wayne Dyer quote I said in the beginning. Abundance is not something we acquire. It is something we tune into. You've got this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send me a DM on Instagram at Benjamin Ye. If you're new to this show, I invite you to hit that subscribe button to this Boom Vision podcast if you enjoy learning from today's sharing. Until next time, folks, be kind to yourself. Be in the light. Be you. Thank you so much for tuning in to my Boom Vision podcast. If you'd like to find out more about me and this podcast, head over to benjaminye.com. That's spelled BenjaminYeh.com. If you haven't already, click subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.